Picture this. It's 9 o'clock at night, and the house is finally quiet. You've just laid your head on the pillow after a long day, and then, ping. It's an email from your boss. The subject line is a single word, problem. What do you feel instantly? A tightening in your chest. Does your breath get shallower? Your mind starts racing with 1,000 worst-case scenarios. You haven't even opened the email, but your body is already on high alert. Or perhaps it's another scene, one that's all too familiar. Your child, in a moment of carelessness, spills a glass of milk on the floor you just cleaned. And before you know it, a sharp reprimand escapes your lips, an angry reaction that doesn't match the mistake, only to be followed 5 minutes later by a heavy wave of regret as you see your child's tear-filled eyes. If any of this sounds familiar, you are not alone. This isn't a sign of weakness or a character flaw. It's proof that you're human, with a brain hardwired for survival. Deep inside each of our minds is an ancient wiring system, a mechanism honed over millions of years of evolution. Think of it this way, your brain has an alarm button and a CEO. That alarm button, which scientists call the amygdala, is like a hypersensitive security guard, constantly scanning for danger. Its job is simple: detect a threat and sound the alarm immediately, flooding your system with stress hormones to prepare you for fight or flight. It doesn't think, it just reacts. And in our modern world, it doesn't distinguish between a real tiger and a stressful email from your boss. To the alarm, a threat is a threat. But you also have a CEO. This is your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain right behind your forehead. This is the center of reason, logic, considered decision-making, and empathy. This CEO has the ability to see the big picture, analyze a situation calmly, and choose a wise response instead of an impulsive reaction. The problem is, when the alarm button gets pushed, it's so fast and so loud that it drowns out the calm voice of the CEO. The struggle you feel daily, the tug-of-war between calm and chaos, between regret and self-control, is really a battle for control between these two parts of your brain. But what if I told you that you could train your CEO? What if you could learn to create a pause, just a few seconds, long enough for the CEO to step in, take control, and guide you through the challenge instead of being overwhelmed by it? That is exactly what we are going to explore together today. We will dive into why keeping cool can feel impossible, and more importantly, we will learn scientifically proven strategies so you can become the true CEO of your own mind. The problem: why keeping cool feels impossible. So, we've identified the two main players in our minds, the sensitive guard, or alarm button, and the calm CEO. The question now is, why does the guard seem to win all the time in critical moments? Why does keeping your cool feel like trying to stop a bursting dam with your bare hands? The answer lies in a phenomenon psychologists call the amygdala hijack. Imagine this: your CEO, the prefrontal cortex, is sitting in the control room, analyzing data and preparing to make a wise decision. Suddenly, the guard, the amygdala, kicks down the door, screaming, "Danger," and immediately cuts all communication lines to the control room. The guard seizes the control panel, mashes all the red buttons, and puts the entire system on high alert. The CEO is locked out, banging on the door helplessly while your ship is sailing full speed into a storm. This isn't just a metaphor. This is what's biologically happening inside your brain. When the amygdala identifies a threat, real or perceived, it triggers a cascade of chemicals, including adrenaline and cortisol. Blood flow, carrying oxygen and energy, is diverted away from the prefrontal cortex and toward the primal, reactive centers. You literally lose a part of your ability to think rationally. The most important thing to understand is this process is incredibly fast. We're talking about milliseconds. It happens before the conscious part of your brain even registers what's going on. So when you blurt out something in anger that you later regret, it's not because you're a bad person. It's because the guard hijacked the controls before your CEO even had a chance to speak. The guilt you carry afterward, that feeling of, "I should have known better," often ignores the fact that biologically, in that precise moment, you couldn't have known better. Your survival brain was just doing its job. Now, let's apply this to real-world situations we all face. Think about the workplace. You're in a performance review, and your boss offers a piece of criticism that you feel is unfair. Instantly, your amygdala doesn't hear those words as an opportunity for growth. It hears, "You're not good enough. Your position is threatened." The hijack begins. Your heart pounds. Your face might get hot. Instead of listening openly and preparing a structured response, your mind shifts into defensive mode. You start mentally listing all the reasons your boss is wrong, or worse, you might lash out with an impulsive rebuttal, damaging your professional image. The CEO could have crafted an excellent response, but he was locked in the closet at that moment. Or consider the family setting, where these hijacks are often the most frequent and painful. You come home after a stressful day at work, and the first thing you see is a mess in the living room. The hijack happens. The guard doesn't see toys. It sees chaos. It sees disrespect for your hard work. It sees a loss of control. The immediate reaction is a frustrated sigh or a sharp rebuke. That reaction doesn't solve the mess, but it certainly sours the entire mood of the house, pushing away the people you love. The problem is made worse by the modern world. Our alarm system was designed to deal with short, intense threats, like a predator. But today, we face a barrage of chronic, low-grade stressors, the constant news alerts, the simmering financial pressures, the social media arguments, the never-ending stream of emails. Each one of these is like a little poke to the alarm button. All day long, our guard is being agitated, making it overly sensitive. It's in a state of constant high alert, ready to launch a full-scale hijack at the slightest provocation. It feels impossible to keep cool, because your system is already exhausted from being constantly vigilant. But here's the good news. Understanding the mechanics of this hijack is the first step to reclaiming your power. By recognizing it not as a moral failing but as a neurological event, we can stop blaming ourselves and start working strategically. We can't get rid of the guard, he's too important for our survival. But we can learn to soothe him. We can learn to build a hotline, a more direct and robust communication channel to the CEO's office. And that begins with one simple, surprisingly powerful act that can stop the hijack in its tracks. The solution, the 5-second rule that rewires your brain. We've seen how the sensitive guard, the amygdala, can hijack our minds in an instant, leaving us feeling powerless and regretful. So how do we stop this hijack? How do we reclaim control from a pre-programmed biological response? The answer isn't to try and fight it head-on. Trying to suppress a flood of emotion with willpower is like yelling at a hurricane. It's futile and exhausting. Instead, the key is to create a gap. A moment of pause. A simple but profound strategy one call, the 5-second rule. It sounds too simple to be effective, doesn't it? 5 seconds. What can we do in 5 seconds? But in neuroscience terms, 5 seconds is an eternity. It's just enough time to break the automatic reaction cycle and allow the brain's CEO, the prefrontal cortex, to come online and get in the game. Remember, the amygdala hijack is instantaneous. It's a reflex. But the process of rational thought, the CEO's process, takes a little longer to catch up. The 5-second rule is the gift of time you give yourself. So, how does it work in practice? It's not just about counting to 5. It's an active, conscious process. The moment you feel the first signs of an emotional surge, that clench in your stomach, the heat rising in your face, the urge to yell, that's your cue. Instead of launching into that feeling, you take these 3 steps within those 5 seconds. Step 1, stop. Literally. If you were about to step forward, stand still. If you were about to open your mouth, close it. This simple physical act sends a disruptive signal to the brain, interrupting the familiar reaction pattern. You're telling your body, hold on, something different is happening here. Step 2, take one deep breath. But not just any breath. Inhale through your nose, slowly, feeling the air expand your chest and push out your belly. Hold it for a second. Then, exhale slowly through your mouth, for a little longer than your inhale. This controlled breath is an incredibly powerful tool. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest system. It lowers your heart rate, drops your blood pressure, and sends a biological signal to the amygdala that says, the threat has passed. It's safe. You can stand down. Just one intentional, deep breath is enough to start reversing the stress chemical cascade. Step 3, ask a simple question. As you're exhaling, ask yourself, what's really happening here, or what outcome do I want? This question forces your prefrontal cortex to engage. It shifts your focus from emotional reaction to cognitive analysis. It pulls you out of the vortex of anger or fear and puts you in the position of an observer, a problem solver. All of this happens in about 5 seconds. Stop. Breathe. Ask. Now, let's see how it changes the script in our real-world scenarios. Back to that 9 p.m. boss email. Before, scenario, you see the subject, problem. Your amygdala fires. Your heart races. You immediately open the email, scan it with a sense of dread, interpreting every word in the most negative way possible. You might fire back a defensive email immediately, or you'll toss and turn all night, your mind racing with worst-case scenarios. You've reacted. After, scenario, you see the subject, problem. You feel that familiar clench in your stomach. That's your cue. You put the phone down. Stop. You take one deep, slow breath. Breathe. You ask yourself, okay, what's really happening? This is an email. It's not a tiger. Do I need to deal with this right now, when I'm tired and vulnerable? Ask. The obvious answer is no. Your CEO has taken control. You decide to deal with it in the morning with a clear head. You've responded. Or consider the spilled milk. Before, scenario, you see the puddle. Amygdala hijack. You yell, why can't you just be more careful? The mood is ruined. The child feels scared and ashamed. You feel guilty. Nobody wins. After, scenario, you see the puddle. You feel the flash of anger. Cue. You stop. You close your mouth before the words can escape. You take one deep breath. You look at your child's worried face and ask yourself, what outcome do I want here? Do I want to teach my child about responsibility, or do I want to scare them? Your CEO speaks up. You say calmly, accidents happen. Don't worry, let's clean it up together. You've turned a moment of potential conflict into a moment of connection and teaching. The 5-second rule isn't about ignoring or suppressing your emotions. Your feelings are real and valid. Your anger is a signal. Your fear is a signal. This rule is about not letting those emotions take the driver's seat. It's about acknowledging them, thanking them for trying to protect you, and then telling them, thanks, but I've got it from here. The first time you try this, it might feel awkward. Your guard has been used to being in charge for years, he won't give up easily. But every single time you practice the 5-second rule, you are doing something remarkable, you are building a new neural pathway. You are strengthening the connection between your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex. You are training your CEO to be stronger, faster. At first, it might feel like hacking through a dense jungle. But with repetition, that path becomes a trail, then a dirt road, and eventually, a 6-lane superhighway. The deliberate response becomes more automatic. Calm becomes your default state. And it all starts with just 5 seconds. A pause. A breath. A choice. The upgrade, beyond pausing, how to respond like a pro. The 5-second rule has given us an invaluable tool, space. It's like hitting the pause button on an intense action movie, giving us a moment to breathe and reorient ourselves. But after we pause, what do we do with that space? Just stopping isn't enough. To truly transform from a reactor to a responder, we need to use that space wisely. This is where we upgrade from a simple action to a more sophisticated mental strategy, a technique psychologists call cognitive reappraisal. It sounds complex, but at its core, it's simply this: changing the story you are telling yourself. Think about it this way: an event happens in the outside world, a comment, an action, a situation, that in itself is neutral. It's just raw data. It's our brain that, in a split second, assigns a meaning, a story, to that data. And it's that story, not the event itself, that dictates our emotional and behavioral response. The problem is that the first story our guard, the amygdala, tells is usually a negative one, based on fear and past negative experiences. It's a story of attack, disrespect, or failure. Cognitive reappraisal is the art of consciously choosing a second story, one that is more balanced, more constructive, and often, more accurate. This isn't about blind positivity or lying to yourself. It's about becoming a mental detective, looking for alternative explanations and other perspectives. Studies, like those published in respected journals like PubMed Central, have shown that practicing cognitive reappraisal not only reduces negative emotions in the moment but can also lessen the body's long-term physiological stress responses. By changing your story, you are literally changing your body's chemistry. So, how do we practice this in that precious 5-second space? After you've stopped and taken a breath, you use your brain's CEO to ask a series of investigative questions. Here are a few powerful ones to start with. What's another possible explanation for this? Your first story might be, "My boss didn't reply to my email. He's definitely ignoring me and is unhappy with my work." This is the guard's story. Now, have the CEO look for other possibilities. Maybe he's in back-to-back meetings. Maybe he's dealing with a family emergency. Maybe he simply hasn't seen it yet. Maybe he wants to think through his reply carefully. By listing 3 or 4 other possibilities, you instantly dilute the power of the original negative story. It's no longer the only truth, it's just one possibility among many. What does this actually say about me? When someone cuts you off in traffic, the first story might be, "That guy is so disrespectful. He thinks he's more important than me." The reaction is anger. But reframe it. What does that driver's action say about you? Nothing. It says a lot about them: maybe they're late, stressed, or just a bad driver. By decoupling other people's actions from your self-worth, you take your power back. Their frustration doesn't have to become your frustration. In 5 years, will this matter? This question gives you perspective. The spilled milk, the snide comment from a relative, a small mistake at work, these things can feel world-ending in the moment. But when you place them in the context of your entire life, they often shrink to their true size: small, fleeting annoyances. This question helps your CEO see beyond the immediate crisis and focus on what truly matters in the long run. What can I learn from this, or what's the opportunity here? This is the master reframe. It transforms a negative situation into a chance for growth. The unfair criticism from a boss. It's an opportunity to practice assertive communication and clarify expectations. An argument with your partner. It's an opportunity to learn more about each other's needs and fears. A failed project. It's an invaluable lesson in what not to do next time. By looking for the lesson or opportunity, you shift from the role of a victim to the role of a student, an active agent in your own life. Let's apply this question set to a complex scenario. Let's say you worked hard for weeks on a major presentation. After you deliver it, instead of the praise you expected, your boss points out a few flaws publicly in front of your colleagues. Initial reaction, the guard's story: he's trying to humiliate me. He never acknowledges my hard work. I'm a failure. Emotions: shame, anger, disappointment. Deliberate response, using cognitive reappraisal in your pause. What's another explanation? Maybe he trusts my abilities and is pushing me to be even better. Maybe that's just his direct communication style. Maybe he wanted to use those points as a teaching moment for the whole team. What does this actually say about me? It doesn't say I'm a failure. It says my presentation had a few areas for improvement, which is completely normal. In 5 years, will this matter? I probably won't even remember this specific meeting, but the skills I learned from it might still be valuable. What's the opportunity here? This is a chance for me to show my professionalism. I can meet with him privately later to discuss the feedback, showing that I'm open to learning. This is also a chance for me to learn how to receive criticism constructively. Do you see the difference? The same event, but two completely different stories, leading to two completely different emotional and behavioral outcomes. Cognitive reappraisal is not a trick. It is a skill. And like any skill, it requires practice. At first, it might feel slow and forced. You might have to literally write these questions down. But gradually, it will become part of your mental toolkit. Your CEO will learn to automatically run through these scenarios, selecting the most useful story and guiding you to a calm, powerful, and effective response. You are no longer just surviving life's challenges, you are using them to become wiser. The lifestyle, making it a habit, your 5-minute mindset. We now have powerful tools in our hands, the 5-second rule to create space, and the art of cognitive reappraisal to use that space wisely. But there's a hard truth we all know: having the world's best toolkit is meaningless if it just sits gathering dust in the shed. The same goes for these skills. They won't help us if we only remember them after we've already reacted. The real challenge, and the greatest reward, is turning these conscious actions into a nearly automatic habit, a core part of your lifestyle. The question isn't, what can I do, but how can I remember to do it consistently? The answer lies in deliberate practice. And when I say practice, I don't mean you have to set aside hours every day. Neuroscience has given us fantastic news: consistency is more important than intensity. Studies on mindfulness, like those published in leading scientific journals, have shown that short but regular meditation practices can literally change the physical structure of the brain. Think of it like exercise. You can't go to the gym once for 8 hours and expect to be fit. But if you work out for just 20 minutes a day, over time, you will see incredible changes. Training the mind works on the same principle. Every time you practice, you are strengthening the neural pathway to your brain's CEO. You are increasing gray matter density in your prefrontal cortex, which helps with clear thinking and emotional control. At the same time, you are calming the amygdala, making it less twitchy and less likely to stage a hijack. So, what does this workout look like? I want to introduce you to a simple, non-intimidating routine I call the 5-minute mindset. It takes just 5 minutes of your morning, before the chaos of the day hits. These 5 minutes will set the tone for the rest of the day, acting as a strategy session between you and your mind's CEO. Here's how you do it. Find a quiet spot, and sit upright in a chair or on the floor. You don't need to sit in a complex lotus position. Just sit comfortably but alert. Then, begin. Part 1, 2 minutes of anchoring your breath. Gently close your eyes and bring your attention to one single thing, the feeling of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. Don't try to control it. Just observe it. Notice the slightly cooler air as you inhale through your nose, and the slightly warmer air as you exhale. Feel the rise and fall of your chest and belly. Now, the inevitable will happen: your mind will wander. It will start making a to-do list, worry about a meeting, or replay a conversation from yesterday. This is the most important moment. So many people give up on meditation because they think they're doing it wrong when their mind isn't completely empty. But here's the truth: the goal is not an empty mind. That's impossible. The goal is to notice when your mind has wandered, and then, gently and without judgment, guide it back to the breath. Think of it like training a puppy. You don't yell at the puppy when it runs off, you just gently call it back. Every single time you bring your attention back to the breath, you have completed one rep in your focus workout. You are telling your brain, I am the one who decides what's important right now. Just 2 minutes. Part 2, 3 minutes of setting intentions. After the 2 minutes of breathing are up, while still in that calm state, ask yourself 2 questions. You can reflect on them in your head or, for even greater effect, write the answers in a journal. First question, what is my most important intention for today? This isn't a to-do list item, like, finish the report. This is a quality of being, a state of existence. Maybe it's, today, I will listen with patience. Or, today, I will meet uncertainty with calm. Or, today, I will be kind to myself. By setting an intention, you are giving your CEO a clear directive for the day. Second question, what is a likely trigger I will face today, and how will I choose to respond? This is a mental rehearsal. You know that 2 p.m. call with a difficult client is going to be stressful. Instead of just hoping you'll keep your cool, plan for it. When Mr. Smith starts to complain, I will feel my heart rate increase. That is my cue. I will take one deep breath, remind myself that his frustration is not personal, and I will reply calmly and professionally. By rehearsing in advance, you have a response plan already in place, making it much easier to follow when the situation actually happens. 5 minutes. That's all it takes to start your day with proactivity instead of reactivity. But the morning workout is just the beginning. To truly make this a lifestyle, we need to bring this mindfulness into everyday moments. Try using these mindfulness anchors throughout your day. For example, create a doorway rule. Every time you walk through a doorway, into your office, your car, your home, use it as a reminder to take one deep breath. This simple act will pull you back into the present moment dozens of times a day, breaking up the state of automatic mindlessness. Or the ping rule, every time your phone buzzes with a notification, let that be your anchor. Before you reflexively grab it, take a breath. Just one. You are reclaiming your control from technology designed to hijack your attention. Finally, remember that this is a practice, not a performance. It's a journey, not a test with a pass/fail grade. There will be days you forget your 5-minute routine. There will be days your guard still wins and you react in a way you wish you hadn't. That is perfectly normal. When it happens, don't beat yourself up. Instead, view it with curiosity. Interesting. A hijack just happened. What was the trigger? What could I do differently next time? Every mistake is data. Every failure is a teacher. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. By investing these small, consistent moments in your mental training, you aren't just learning to manage stress. You are fundamentally changing your relationship with yourself and the world around you. The wrap-up and CTA, you are the CEO of your mind. Our journey today started with a familiar feeling, the powerlessness of being swept away by emotion, the regret that follows an impulsive reaction. We journeyed deep inside the mind and met its 2 key players, the ever-watchful guard, our alarm button, and the calm leader, our CEO. We learned that our internal struggle isn't a character flaw, but a biological tug-of-war, an amygdala hijack designed to protect us, but which often backfires in the modern world. But more importantly, we discovered that we are not helpless spectators in our own drama. We have the power to change the script. We learned the transformative power of the 5-second rule, a simple but profound pause, a single intentional breath that can halt the reactive cascade and create precious space. In that space, we learned to upgrade our skills, using the art of cognitive reappraisal to challenge the initial negative story and choose one that brings us power, clarity, and calm. We turned ourselves from victims of circumstance into detectives of the mind. And finally, we laid out a path to make these actions a lifestyle, through the simple, 5-minute mindset habit, a small daily commitment to train our focus and set our intention. We recognize that every time we practice, even for a moment, we are literally rewiring our brains, strengthening the superhighway to wisdom and self-mastery. The journey from reaction to response is not a shortcut. It's not a quick fix or a life hack. It is a return to the most authentic version of yourself, the version that is not driven by fleeting fear or momentary irritation, but is guided by your deepest values. The benefits of this journey go far beyond just feeling less stressed. When you become the CEO of your mind, your relationships transform. Needless arguments diminish, replaced by conversations of understanding. You become the parent, partner, and colleague that others can count on, a calm presence in the storm. Your confidence will no longer be dependent on external approval, but will stem from an internal certainty that you can handle whatever life throws at you. You will find a kind of peace that isn't the absence of problems, but the presence of the inner strength to meet them. I've shared a lot of information, concepts, and techniques with you today. But it will all remain theory without the most critical step, action. Knowledge is useless without application. So I want to end with an invitation, a challenge. Start with the 5-second rule today. Don't wait for a major crisis. Find a small opportunity. Maybe it's when you're stuck in traffic and feel that frustration bubbling up. Maybe it's when your child spills some water. Maybe it's when you get an annoying text message. In that moment, remember our conversation. Stop. Take one deep breath. That's it. Just see what happens. My challenge to you is this: find one small situation in the next 24 hours and apply the 5-second rule. Then, come back to this video and leave a comment below. Tell us what the situation was and how it felt. No story is too small. By sharing your experience, you not only reinforce your own commitment but also inspire the thousands of others in this community who are on the same journey. Let's build a community of mind COS together. Thank you for your time and your attention today. Remember, the power to change is not in the future. It lies in that tiny pause between the stimulus and your response. Seize it. You are the CEO of your mind.